welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm Brandy Smith.
And I'm Elsie Barnhart.
Okay, let's get started.
So a lot has gone on this weekend.
Yes.
So like the weather a lot has kind of been everywhere a lot. It's been everywhere from 75, 80 degrees to 35.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Which, yeah, it's insane. I've even heard it's like supposed to snow this weekend.
Yeah, I was just about to put my winter stuff up and
exactly, I was about to take everything home and now I'm like, okay, well it's not raining.
No, it's snowing. Do you have any plans for the weekend?
Well, I was gonna head up to Manhattan, Kansas for their Fake Patty's Day, but
I love Fake Patty's.
Yeah, no, it should. I mean, I was excited, but considering that it is gonna snow, I decided to stay home.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna hit up the Spencer Art Museum. I've never been. So
oh yeah, it's really nice in there.
Have you been?
Yeah, I haven't been since it's been renovated, but I heard it's really nice.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've heard a ton of good things, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans or anything like that?
Yes, I'm not going to Fake Patty's, unfortunately, but my parents are in town this weekend. They're here for the Big 12 game, even though we lost yesterday. They're still here with my mom, my sister, and stuff, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, your dad is here with us. We're going to have him on the show.
Yeah, he's very excited. He's one of the reasons why I decided to get into journalism. So we'll hear more from him later today.
Very cool, yeah. So stay tuned with us, and after the break, we will hear from Mr. Smith.
3, 2, 1, and camera 2.
All right, guys, welcome back.
Welcome to Media Crossroads. Located on the second floor of Anschutz Library sits an immersive learning experience like no other. So what is Media Crossroads? A chance to try something new. The opportunity to step in and learn. Going behind the scenes, or maybe giving it a shot in front of the camera.
Good evening, guys, and welcome into Playmaker Central. I'm Lydia Taylor.
Under the direction of instructor Cal Butcher, Media Crossroads provides students with the chance to learn by doing.
You're going to start here just so you see that you're on.
So what is Media Crossroads? Well, stop by. Come see for yourself.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm here with Tony, Brandy's dad. Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Elsie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Friday. It's kind of cold out, but
it's very cold out.
It's very cold out, actually.
It's a balmy 67 degrees in Dallas.
Wow.
Not so much here.
And it's a cold 35 here, so
yes.
Enjoying Lawrence, Kansas. So tell us a little bit about why you're here and kind of like what you used to do.
So yeah, Elsie. So I'm actually going through a sports depression right now. We came up for the Big 12 tournament. I'm a huge KU fan, and I was crushed yesterday. I need to go see Devontae and Frank and see what happened and talk to Bill. I'm on a first name basis with Coach Self. So I need to go and see what's going on and get ready for that. But in all seriousness, I came up here for the Big 12 and to hang out with our daughter, Brandy, which she failed to mention me in the previous segment. She was just here with her mom and her daughter, so her sister.
So yeah, so tell us a little bit about kind of like your past with the radio industry and kind of like what you did.
Yeah, so I went to Wichita State, and at age 13, believe it or not, my voice sounded like this. So I was this little scrawny kid with this deep voice, and everybody was like, okay, where's that voice coming from? And I was always asked to read. And so I had an affinity for broadcasting. I'm a huge news nerd, huge weather geek. And when I got to college, I wanted to go and thought I was handsome enough to be in front of the camera, but the voice continued to progress. It did. And so I was the mellow moods guy, believe it or not, in Wichita State. So I worked the midnight to 5 shift, which is the worst shift ever working radio because there's no one up but old women in their 40s. So it was good times though.
Right, no, that's very cool, that's awesome. So Did you kind of like take Brandy, or how did she want to like kind of get involved and follow in your footsteps?
Sure. So since we've been in Dallas, I've been in radio 2 different occasions.
Right.
One, I co-hosted a sports show in the mornings before I went to my real job at AT&T. And then for about 2 years, I worked for an NPR station, KERA, in Dallas. And so I worked on Saturdays from noon to 5, which is a much better shift than that midnight to 5 shift I was working in
for
college.
Sure.
And so I would bring Brandy along whether she wanted to go or not. And she was hanging around in the studio while I was doing my thing on the microphone. And so she started to get that love for journalism. Right. And at the time, she'll hate me for saying this, but her teeth were like all over the place, so she wanted to get braces because she wanted to be in front of the camera. So we got her braces. Hopefully she's wearing her retainer here in Lawrence, so yes.
No, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, we really appreciate you coming to come in and talk to us. So yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And after the break, we will hear from Alex with the news.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Carter, and this is your news update. The Lawrence School Board is looking to fill last month's vacated seat by Christy Adair. A potential elect member is KU Professor of Education John Rury, along with 18 other applicants. Rury, native to New York, has been in Lawrence since 2003, studying inequality in education and how that is affected by many social and economic factors. The students of Lawrence High School proved they were less than 25% college ready, according to their state assessment standards. Rury preached the importance to close the racial achievement gap, but admitted it is a job that cannot be accomplished quickly. The school board will meet Monday at 6 p.m. with all candidates. As we know by now, Kansas is struggling to pay its bills, but what we don't know is Brownback's plan to fix it. In fact, rumors report the job may get done without him. According to the Lawrence Journal World, recent reports suggest that Brownback is preparing to take a low-profile ambassadorship in Italy that would end his administration almost 2 years early. As a fellow Republican to President Donald Trump, many legislators believe Brownback will join the administration later this year. Lawmakers have already begun to discuss the possibility of his leave and how to tackle the jobs he would potentially leave behind. Just yesterday, the reports were brought to Governor Brownback's attention, but no comment was made. Officials from the University of Kansas, along with other schools in the state, have expressed their continued dissatisfaction with concealed carry rights that will be implemented on July 1st. The Kansas Board of Regents said individual schools should be allowed to adopt their own policies. Gun rights advocates proposed a new bill to the House and Federal and State Affairs Committee just yesterday. The new bill is reported to prevent and limit the way students and staff are allowed to use and secure concealed weapons on campuses statewide. Advocates of the National Rifle Association believe this to be considered unreasonable limitations, claiming KU to be the most unreasonable. Stay with us after the break, and we'll have Samantha Gilstrap with the Struggle Bus.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
I think college, if nothing else, college is the time to do you. College is the time to experiment. It's the time to put yourself out there. It's the time to try something different. It's the time to start a new show called The Struggle Bus, which struggle bus, and in true struggle bus fashion, I was late to this, and we are filming in the Dole Center. And our first episode today, we're going to be talking about what it's like coming to KU or coming to any school out of state. This is my friend.
Kane Lever, nice to meet you guys.
And he's going to be helping me because Kane is from
California, Oakland, California.
And I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. What's the best thing about moving out of state?
For me, the best thing about moving out of state was definitely being able to recreate myself as a person, I feel like. You go to college, you're meeting new people, and no one really knows you, so just whatever you want to be, that's who you can be. And it's not that you need to be fake or anything, it's just that you can, I don't know, be
more open. I feel like more confident. I totally agree with you in the fact that like when I came to KU, I was able to reinvent myself in a way that I could just talk to everyone. I was just starting anew. Like it was having no one who knew me, and then as scary as that was, I really got to just find out who I really was, and through that I met some amazing people. A tangent from that is, what do you think is the worst thing about moving out of state?
For me, the worst thing just coming to Kansas, at least to KU. I remember one of the first days I was here, went to use like the public restroom, and I couldn't find any of the toilet seat like covers, and that was just horrific to me, like having to put down my own toilet seat covers.
I mean, there are a lot of disadvantages to moving out of state just because, first of all, tuition is double what it would be if you were in state, and just paying for college itself is monumental, and it's stressful, especially, you know, even if you do come from some money, like college is expensive no matter what. And so I think that's really hard. Probably the number one struggle for me is just figuring out how to pay for it all. You know, having to get a job, having to figure that out here. But then another thing that I didn't think would affect me is like when I don't want to say run away, but when I left North Carolina, I had a lot of unsolved issues with my family. Back home, we have a thing called, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna get out of there and do my own thing and not talk to them and not need to rely on them, and I don't need to call my mom.
Bye, Felicia.
But, you know, family is so important, and I think coming to Kansas has helped me realize how important that is because, you know, I miss them, like, and I think about my family, and, you know, if someone gets sick, I can't just turn around and be there. First, I'm in college moment.
California, it's such a big city, I guess. I don't really consider myself like a city boy or anything, but coming out here, I remember someone was like, or one night, one of my friends wanted me to go out on a hay bale with them. And I honestly hadn't even heard of a hay bale before that night.
I remember when I drove here the first time, usually I fly back and forth to visit, but I drove here the first time, and I had been in the car for 9 hours, I think, just driving by myself because I was just panicked. Arms on the wheel, like I'm going to college, like this is it. And I think that was the day it really hit me that I was moving to college because back home I kept saying, I'm going to go to Kansas, I'm going to go to school in Kansas, and you know, no one from my school went there. You know, no one had even known anything about Kansas. I got Dorothy jokes all the time.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And part of it was just, I was so excited to just be in a new place, but part of it, I was just so scared. It like just daunted on me that like I was going to be here by myself for the next foreseeable future with no help. You know, no one I knew. Like, I didn't even know the girl I was moving in with. I hadn't even conversed with her yet. And that was just, I think that was the moment that I realized, like, wow, I'm going to college.
A lot of in-state students normally, I feel like they get the experience of college where they're just dipping their feet in of the real world. But for us out-of-staters, we're just getting tossed out into the ocean. And so
For
we're just
sure.
saying swim, basically.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best thing.
Welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm your host for our fashion segment, Nicholas Brady. Starting off, I want to talk about something that I've possibly brought up before but haven't gotten into much detail, which is high fashion. I try to make this segment as relatable as possible to college students, and I think high fashion can have the stigma that it's only for the wealthy or for fashionistas per se. Partially true, high fashion in the clothing involved can range from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. None of us ramen-eating KU students can probably afford. Although the thing I like about fashion the most is that it isn't just about clothing. To me, fashion is an expression of a fantasy, a way of telling a story that anyone can enjoy. The story is usually told on the so-called catwalk or runway, with models walking down it in the latest fashion produced by well-established fashion houses and their designers. Twice a year, quote-unquote Fashion Week occurs and essentially lasts about a month long. The big four fashion capitals, New York, Milan, London, and Paris, are always in the spotlight, and just recently we saw the fall-winter collections wrapping up. I thought I would share the most notable fashion show in my opinion, a brand you might have heard of or seen, Coco Chanel, or just Chanel. Karl Lagerfeld is their designer and has been for quite some time. He is known for putting extravagant fashion shows, essentially installations, like recreating an airport terminal, for example, or a Parisian cafe. For his latest show, he launched a rocket. Yes, that's right, a life-size, realistic-looking rocket launched at the end of Chanel's fashion show. And rightfully so, Elton John's song, Rocket Man, played in the background. Pretty cool if you ask me. Let's take a look. Pretty cool. So I could go on and on about Fashion Week, as there are hundreds of brands and fashion houses that present, but two other designers that stood out to me were Balenciaga and Marc Jacobs. Balenciaga is a Paris-based fashion house who recently appointed Demna Gvasalia as their creative director. His recent show with Balenciaga was elegant and cool, and I really liked how he chose a corporate office-like environment with the actual text Balenciaga printed all over the floor. Marc Jacobs has been killing it ever since the grunge popular in the 90s, and for his recent collection, he brought his own hip-hop evolution to the New York City streets. I absolutely loved it, and I might need to buy one of those bucket hats. And here we have Balenciaga's looks. I think they're, like I said, very elegant and cool. Marc Jacobs, the bucket hat, I would have loved to buy one of those. Very puffy jackets, lots of fur. And kind of the New York 90s hip-hop flow, bringing it to high fashion, merging streetwear and expensive clothing. Kind of a trend, and I think it should keep on continuing. That's it for high fashion today. I hope to talk more about high fashion in the shows to come, focusing on different aspects of it and not just solely the clothes. Before we wrap up things today, and as we transition into the end, Adidas unveiled its new Create Yours men's collection this past Monday, right before the conference tournaments. The line, which includes new tops, shorts, and shoes and socks that will be worn by teams representing Adidas. One of those teams includes, of course, Kansas, and as I'm sure you'll hear about it soon. We won't be getting to see them wear those uniforms for the rest of the weekend, but hopefully for the rest of March, as the madness is just starting. Either way, I think the new gear is cool, and it's always great to see Adidas do things in collaboration with KU. And today we don't have a sports segment, but just to talk a little bit about KU sports, it was sad to see us lose. We didn't have Josh Jackson. If we're only depending on him, we might not go that far in the actual NCAA tournament. A good point my friend made is that we have plenty of time to rest before that instead of playing our hearts out to win the Big 12 tournament. I mean, overall, we won the conference for the 13th time. I think that's pretty credible and pretty amazing. I look forward to watching our players battle it out, and we'll see how it goes. All right, that's it for Fashion Today. This is Off the Boulevard. I'm Nicholas Brady, and we will see you next week.